Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here. Well, would you look at that? The final month of the year. God damn, does time fly? Soon, we'll all be dead, and this will mean absolutely nothing. But enough cheeriness, because we got some Oscar predictions to go through, this time for December of 2022. And with both the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice Award nominations having been announced, we got some things to talk about. My number one for Best Picture is still Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yes, it's been my number one since the very beginning, and I feel very confident in keeping it at my number one until the very end. I was playing with maybe the possibility of lowering it down just because it came out so long ago and it's still got a couple of months left before the actual Oscars. So maybe the enthusiasm for it would diminish, but that does not seem to be the case, which I'm very excited for. It's doing very, very well with the critics and their awards. It's doing very well with the Golden Globes and the Critics Awards. A lot of nominations. So yeah, I think this is a very strong possibility that it's just going to go all the way. And I'm there for it. It's my favorite film of the year, and I would be so happy for this to win Best Picture. Now, you may notice that I dropped The Fabelmans down to number 4, and you're probably thinking, why? That's number 2. Obviously, number 2, it's getting in everywhere. Well, my train of thought is kind of shifting as I see the various nominations come out. Having now seen the movie, which I do think is a very, very strong film, maybe a little bit too whimsical at points, as is on par for Steven Spielberg, but after seeing it, I just don't think of it as a movie that people are going to want to rewatch over and over again. It feels like one of those one-and-done films. You watch it just because you're curious about what the story is, and then when you're done, you're just kind of done with it, at least on my end. A lot of the other films, I see a lot of replayability there because you want to go back and catch things you might have missed the first time around. And, I mean, even looking at the box office results, The Fabelmans just didn't do that well. And I guess you can make the argument that that doesn't matter, right? It's really about the people in the industry and that they're going to watch it. But looking at it this way, I'm starting to think maybe this isn't the first choice of what people are going to want to watch for those who haven't seen it yet. Let's say, somebody's waiting for all the nominations to come out and then they're going to go through it. Who among them are going to go, oh, Fabelmans, that's the first one I'm going to pop right on in? I don't know, that's just kind of the mindset I have for it. I think people are going to watch it, they're going to be very impressed with what the film did, and they're going to like the individual elements for it, but I don't think it's really going to be a lot of people's number one, if that makes sense. At least after watching it, that's the way that I came across. It came across to me, I should say. It's a strong, solid film, definitely going to be getting in. I just don't see it winning, and that's really what's keeping it down to number 4 now. Now, this of course means that Banshees and Tar end up taking the number 2 and number 3 spot respectively. And if Everything Everywhere All at Once doesn't go home with the win, I think I can see Banshees taking it home instead, because it's a film that everyone is really liking. They're nominating it frickin' everywhere. It's won quite a bit of awards. I think one of the Critics Guilds have already given it Best Picture. It's doing very well in writing and in its performances. It's generally surprising. So I think you have a very strong possibility of this one going home with the win if Everything Everywhere All at Once does not. And then Tar, I think, is another one that a lot of people really do like. And I think I would be completely fine with Tar also winning Best Picture, because again, it's a film where, you watch it once and you miss stuff. You want to go back in there, you want to review it and see all the stuff that you missed the first time around, or now that you know what the story is, kind of going in there and seeing it from a different viewpoint. And I think both these films have that about it, where you want to rewatch it to kind of analyze it more. At least for me. I know not everyone's going to think the same, but for me, that's kind of what I felt with those ones. So 2, 3, 4 for The Fabelmans. Again, I think these are all very strong possibilities. This is the order that I do see them winning Best Picture right now. And then rounding out the top 5 is Top Gun Maverick, which I know I had not put on my list until right now. And to be honest, it's just me, but Top Gun just doesn't feel like a Best Picture movie to me personally. It's a solid action film, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a bad movie whatsoever, but it's just a solid action film. I don't know. I can't see it as anything more than that. And I think that there's better nominations that you can make an argument for, but what the fuck ever, I guess not. What are we gonna nominate? After Sun? Just the best reviewed movie of the year? Fuck that noise. Top Gun Maverick, baby. So there's that, but I know, again, not to diminish Top Gun. I think it's a fine film. It's fine, it's entertaining. Let's just move on. For my bottom 5, I have Babylon, which I know it's been getting a lot of those mixed early impressions, because as of time of this recording, the reviews have still not fully come out. But what does that mean? I don't know. What is the percentage of people that are actually loving it and are hating it? Is it straight down the middle? Because that does not seem to be the case. Are the people that really dislike it so vocal, and the people that really love it so vocal, and everybody else is just going, yeah, it's a fine film? Until the reviews come out, I can't say for sure. I don't think it's straight down the middle, though, because it's getting so many nominations everywhere. I mean, if the movie really was despised, I mean, generally, just the major consensus is that it's just not good. I don't think it would be getting as many nominations as it's currently getting. And keep in mind, not just for the critics, but for Golden Globes and all that stuff, that it's getting in. So, yeah, I think we have a very strong possibility of Babylon getting in. I'm very excited to see it now that the early look at it has been kind of this weird reception for it. So, I like when films kind of maybe split an audience to a degree. So we'll see. Avatar: The Way of Water, that one's getting in pretty much everywhere, so I'm more confident than ever it's going to get into Best Picture. I think part of it is also that it is the new shininess that is around right now. I don't think it's as strong as some of the other nominations, but because it's so new, that's why I think it has a stronger possibility. Elvis, of course, I've been playing with Elvis getting in for the longest time. I think I'm on the same minefield as a lot of the other YouTubers that do predictions, where the movie's fine. It's not a terrible movie, I don't think it is, but it's not that great either. So I think there's better movies to nominate, but I get Baz Luhrmann films are generally very well liked, so it gets in. Again, what the fuck else are we gonna nominate? After Sun? Whatever. Women Talking not doing so well. That's got me worried. It's been getting really good reviews. Why it's not really making such an impact at the awards, I do not know. We're about to get a limited release pretty soon, but the full-on widespread release isn't until next year, middle of January. So maybe we'll see a big push for it by next month or the following month. For now, though, like, its lack of nominations has me worried that I am dropping it quite a bit on my list, but I still think it can get in. I still think it can get in. And lastly, I'm gonna always throw an international film here, and for a director as well. I've been playing with Decision to Leave, I've been playing with All Quiet on the Western Front, and shout out to that one guy who always comments on my channel, but yeah, right now I am actually thinking RRR could maybe surprise and sneak in here. That would be pretty goddamn cool. It's getting this huge resurgence. I mean, it's been building for a while now, but I think just recently with all of the nominations it's been getting everywhere, there's just this ginormous boom for it. So I think if it keeps that momentum, we may see a surprise at the Oscars, and I would be completely down for it.
Greetings, freaks! Future editing Jan Michael here, reporting that past Jan Michael is a complete and total fuck up. Not only is he about to tell you some incorrect information because he doesn't think about what he says, but he'd even realized that the camera was not rolling while he was filming the director section, resulting in no director section. And now you're getting seasick because the camera is wobbling all over the place. So yeah, let me go ahead and remedy that by giving you my director section, and we will minimize video here. Okay, so I put Steven Spielberg at number 1 here. I know that's not a big surprise. I think a lot of people are right in what they're saying, where they want to honor him for this film that in turn honors his life. So I don't see The Fabelmans winning really anywhere else. So I think this is a good spot to give it the one award. And just, thanks Steven for all the years of hard work that he's put in. It's almost like a career award just because it is a movie based on his life. And plus, he hasn't won in a long time, so I know they're probably itching to give him another award, and I think this is a good shot at him winning it again. But the Daniels are doing pretty goddamn well in the critics groups. They've been winning pretty much everywhere. So it wouldn't surprise me, especially if Everything Everywhere All at Once ends up being as beloved at the Oscars as it is everywhere else, for them to take the win here as well. I wouldn't completely count it out. Though I have seen certain lists that still have them out of the top 5, and I don't understand it, but you do you. You do you. I took Sarah Polley out, which I didn't want to do, because without her or Gina for The Woman King, this is a sausage fest. And especially with how well the Academy has done recognizing women and honoring them, giving them the win, and just such a talented group of people. And then we're going to take a step back and not nominate any. That seems like a really bad move to me. So I hope there's some surprise. Women Talking is just not doing so well, which is why I'm very hesitant to put Sarah in my top 5 right now. And without The Woman King in Best Picture for me right now, I can't really justify putting Gina on there. So that's kind of where I stand there. But again, I hope I'm surprised. All males, come on, guys. There's so many other talented individuals we can be recognizing. So I don't know, that's just on me. In her place, though, I have Martin McDonagh and Todd Field, respectively. I think that we could see a future where both of them get nominated for the Oscar. We can see one get snubbed, a la Denis Villeneuve for Dune last year. I don't think they would both miss. I think that would be more of a surprise if they both missed, but I can see either one or the other, or even both of them making it in. And then, as I was saying, for Best Picture, I have to have an international director, and right now, the best choice I think anyone can make is S.S. Rajamouli for RRR. It would be fantastic. And I like how the director branch always honors a different country's director. Like we had Mexico, we had South Korea, we had Germany, Japan. So for India to kind of get that shout out now and say, hey, look at this amazing director from that place. I think it's fantastic. I like how the director's branch is going about this. So I hope they continue the trend. And if not S.S. Rajamouli, that at least somebody else should have the spotlight. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about these picks, with the exception of no female on here. But yeah, what are you gonna do? All right, take it back, past Jan Michael. What do you got for us?
Now, I actually think we have something very, very exciting here with the Best Actress race. I don't think this is going to be a straightforward shot for Cate Blanchett, as a lot of people thought it was originally going to be. Just looking at the critics side of things, I think right now it's split between Cate and Michelle Yeoh. And for the major precursors, I could easily see this being a situation where each of these leading ladies ends up taking one of those big awards home, to the point where we're left on Oscar day on the edge of our seats wondering who the hell's going to come out on top. And I think that's freaking exciting. I could easily see this being like another repeat of a few years ago, where you had Frances McDormand, Andra Day, and Carey Mulligan all vying for it. And we're wondering, is this going to go to someone who has never won an Oscar before, or is Frances McDormand going to get her third? And we had no idea how it was going to go, so I could easily see that being the same scenario here. The only one on here that I'm still not 100% convinced on is Margot Robbie. I do think that fifth slot is open. I think the other ones are a pretty sure thing they can get in, but I think you could easily swap out that fifth one for Viola Davis, Olivia Colman, who showed up at the Golden Globes. I think there's just so many possibilities. Heck, we could get a complete shock at who's going to get the nominations, because there's so many strong female-led performances this year. So yeah, that's what makes it so freaking exciting. So I cannot wait. The only thing I can say is shame on you, Golden Globes. How dare you leave Danielle Deadwyler off your list? That is sick and disgusting. Go hire another 100 people until you get it right. For Best Actor, all I can say is, what the fuck's happening with The Whale, A24? I mean, what the fuck is that shit? For whatever reason, the trailer that's come out for it is barely nothing. They haven't been giving off the screeners to hardly anyone, from what I understand. Right now, it's not filling me with very much confidence, and that includes Brendan Fraser, who everyone was saying was supposed to win the award. As of right now, the critics have been giving it all to Colin Farrell. He's fucking dominating. So, yeah, Colin makes my number one for now, just because I truly don't know what the fuck's happening with The Whale. And that's such a shame, because this does feel like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Brendan. I mentioned this in my previous videos, but I just never saw him as an Oscar nominee. So for him to go so far as to people saying, oh no, he's so amazing, he could win, and then they're doing this to him, that fucking sucks. That sucks. So I hope they get their shit together and they start pushing The Whale a little bit harder. Because otherwise, yeah, I can even see Brendan maybe even falling me further down the list, and that would be a shame. Austin Butler and Bill Nye are most definitely going to be getting in. I think they're getting in everywhere as of right now. The fifth spot is really the only one that's open. I have Hugh Jackman on there. Maybe I shouldn't. The Sun is, you know, it's done. It's a done thing. It's not going to happen anymore. But Hugh has shown up, so maybe he still manages to squeeze in and be the one nomination for that film. That's just kind of all I've got. And I know what you guys are thinking, but Jan, what about Tom Cruise for Top Gun? No, just shut up right now. Just shut up. Don't say it. Don't say it. I will not live a life I do not deserve to live. For Best Supporting Actress, yo no say. I have no idea. It's kind of crazy. There's so many thoughts that are flowing through my mind. First, women talking. There have been a bunch of areas where none of the actresses have shown up whatsoever. So, do I just knock all of them off my list? Do I go with Jessie Buckley, who did show up at critics? You know, what the fuck's happening there? Angela Bassett's been surprising. Do I include her now? Is Jamie Lee Curtis getting in but not Stephanie Sue? That would be a fucking travesty, because Stephanie Sue's amazing in the film. So is Jamie. I think she did a really good job, but over Stephanie? That seems a little bit too extreme. I would at least include both of them there, but that doesn't seem like the right move to do either. So, yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a very exciting one to keep an eye on, just because I really have no idea how this is going to pan out. So, for now, here's what I got. Carrie Condon for the Banshees of Inisherin. I think she's been the one consistency in all of the awards, but she hasn't won everywhere, so I can't tell you that she is your front runner or anything of that nature. I think she's a bit more guaranteed in. Although, just to kind of go off on a side note here, anybody getting flashbacks to last year with Belfast, where Catriona Balfe got snubbed, and then only one of the Belfast lads got into Best Supporting Actor? We kind of have something similar here with the Banshees of Inisherin, so wouldn't that be a travesty if Carrie got snubbed and only one of the Fableman lads got into Supporting Actor? But putting it back on track here. Jamie Lee Curtis at number 2 for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yes, she's clawed her way up the list. Who knows? They might give it to her. I don't think she's ever been nominated before. So maybe it's like a career award, if you will. So I can see that happening. Number 3, I got Angela Bassett for Black Panther. She's been showing up in quite a bit of areas, including now both Golden Globes and critics. So more and more, I think she's definitely getting in. So we'll see what the other big precursors tell us. So number 4, I have... so I'm split between 2 right now. Janelle Monáe, for Glass Onion, and Dolly De Leon for Triangle of Sadness. I think either of those have the potential to get in. Heck, maybe I should just put them at 4 and 5 respectively, but I'm not going to do that because at number 5, I want to throw Stephanie Sue on there because I do think she's great and I do think she deserves the nomination. And I don't want to predict Jamie and not predict Stephanie. So it might be a stupid move, but I'm going to throw them both in there. But 4, I can go either or. For now, I'm going to have Janelle, but I might swap it to Dolly. There's a couple of months left, so just give me a break for now. Again, as I said, this is going to be very exciting to see what happens within the future. Okay, Best Supporting Actor, not as confusing. There are still some uncertainty, but number 1 is Ke-Huy Quan. He's gonna win for Everything Everywhere at Once. That's almost a done deal at this point. He's practically sweeping. So yes, he should be your number 1. Number 2, Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin. He's also won 1 or 2 here or there. So I think he's also a very strong nominee. Not gonna win, but I think he could easily be your number 2 right now. And can I just say, I'm so happy he's finally getting recognition. And he's number 2. I always thought he was going to be one of those actors that just was going to go his whole career without ever even being nominated. So that's one I'm very happy to be wrong about because he's great. He's fantastic. Number 3, Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah, he's been showing up. I thought for sure maybe we wouldn't get 2 Banshee guys here, but I think little by little it's seeming like more of a possibility here. Number 4, I got Paul Dano. There's just something that tells me they're going to give him the nomination. I honestly didn't think he was bad. I thought he was pretty good in the film. I actually went in ready to be underwhelmed by him, but I actually found myself sympathizing with him a lot and being on his side. And yeah, I thought he was completely good in the film. So I think definitely worthy of a nomination. So it doesn't look like they're really going to go for the 2 Fableman guys. I think they're going to go 2 Banshees instead. So again, that can change in the future, but we will see. And number 5, I'm just throwing Brian Tyree Henry on here for Causeway, just because that's what I personally would like to see. It's most likely not going to happen, but that's just something that I have my fingers crossed on. I would love to see him get in. I think it would be a very worthy nomination and maybe open the doors for him winning sometime in the future. He'd be a cool actor to see win the Oscar in the future. The only one that may be surprising that's not on here is Ben Whishaw for Women Talking. But again, Women Talking's just been greatly underperforming everywhere. I don't think Ben showed up at either Golden or Critics. And there's been certain critics groups that haven't nominated him at all. So yeah, I'm just not as convinced anymore, even though I hear the performance is great. So again, maybe we'll get that flash in the future. But for now, he's off my list. We'll see what happens next month. So for original screenplay, I now have Banshees of Inisherin taking home the win. It's been doing very, very well in this category in the critics groups. So I feel like this is where they're going to honor Martin McDonagh for his script and for the film in general. I think it can go home with a couple of awards, but I think this is the one that they're going to give him the award and say, hey, well done with this movie. Here's your prize if they don't give him Best Picture. And yeah, I can see that being a possibility, especially because he hasn't won an Oscar, since his short film fucking forever ago. So yeah, it might be time to give him another award there. But Everything Everywhere All at Once has also won this award in a couple of different areas. Plus, if it is your Best Picture winner, it's a very strong possibility that the writing is going to come along with it. It's just a thing that happens. But again, I think some years the Oscars they just want to give everybody an award, just be like, yo, good job here, and they kind of find the areas that they can do that with. So that's what I have there. The other ones are just kind of the other ones. I don't think they have a shot of winning, but they could definitely get nominated. Tar, very good script there. The Fablemans, I think they're just going to nominate just because it's the Fablemans. And then Triangle of Sadness, I threw that one in here. I think this is a bigger loved film than I first realized. I saw the film and I liked it fine enough, but I thought it was one of those movies that only maybe critics groups would enjoy, and then we wouldn't see it at any of the major precursors, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So now I think we could very well see it get the nomination here. for its writing. You know, those things where, again, they just want to honor one of those films that maybe doesn't get in anywhere else, but they kind of give that spotlight on it, so people will see it and go, oh, I should check that film out. So I can see that being the case here. I'm almost nervous to have Women Talking at number 1 for adapted screenplay, because I do think it's going to get in, but will it win? I don't know. I have no clue. Maybe they give it to Glass Onion. I have no idea. I don't think She Said the Whale or Living would take it home, but I can see if Women Talking doesn't take it, maybe Glass Onion does. So that's really all I have to say about that. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. All right, for editing, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Again, if you've seen the film, if you've seen those cuts where it shows all the different universes, that's some pretty impressive editing. I do think that's your number 1 right now, with things like Babylon and Top Gun Maverick also being strong possibilities. Elvis, again, you got singing, so you have to make that look entertaining, otherwise it's just going to feel like a concert and nothing more. And Tar, I think, does have very good editing, so I think this is a pretty good, well-rounded list, but I think you can see other possibilities on there. I think this is just the most likely right now. Cinematography is going to Top Gun Maverick. This one's been sweeping just about everywhere, so I feel very confident in that. I think Avatar: The Way of Water is also going to come along with this package. Babylon, of course. The Fablemans. And yes, I'm not ready to kick out Roger Deakins just yet. I think he's going to be getting in for Empire of Light. This may be the only nomination Empire of Light gets, but I'm keeping it. I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'll kick him out anymore, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then production design, I think this is easily Babylon. It's the whole circle jerk production. You're going back in time in the golden age of Hollywood. Ooh, yeah. It's that bullshit that the Academy loves. Avatar, obviously going to get in. Black Panther, I think this is one of the ones that it's definitely going to get in for. And then Elvis Shore, I didn't have Everything Everywhere All at Once on here before, just because I was thinking about it, and I mean, all you really got is that building with like maybe a couple little different areas here or there, but I was thinking to myself, there's no way they're going to nominate it for production design, right? But then everyone is giving it production design nomination. So now I'm questioning if Everything Everywhere All at Once is just going to be over-nominated at the Oscars. Like, if they're going to love it so much that it gets into just about everywhere. So I'm playing with that possibility, which is why I'm throwing it at my number 5. But I don't know if it quite deserves this nomination or not. I'm trying to get into the mindset of what the voters are going to think. Costumes, I think, could go a multitude of ways. I think Black Panther and The Woman King both have very strong claims to it. I think Babylon also, again, with the whole getting transported back to the golden age of Hollywood, I think that's something the Academy loves to see, so they'll nominate that movie for it. Elvis with his luxurious outfits, that's a very strong possibility. And again, Everything Everywhere All at Once, this is one that maybe it doesn't get into unless, again, it's over-nominated. But I will say it does have some very interesting costumes, and quite a bit of them. So I think when you really stop and you look at just the costumes, it's very impressive, and I think it would deserve to get the nomination if it gets in. But there's just so many other possibilities that can get in, like Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Corsage, Living, all big names behind a lot of these films. So this is another one that I think is very exciting to just keep your eye on. Makeup and hairstyling, this is the one that The Whale is definitely going to go home with. I think it's a done deal. I mean, unless they fuck it up so bad that it doesn't even get a nomination other than Brendan, it's got to go home with this one. The Batman for that great penguin makeup, and I can't believe I didn't think of this sooner, but the Oscars themselves always like to nominate that kind of weird movie, the one that you never really expect, like the Jackass films. Sometimes get nominated because of the old man makeup. And I was thinking of that because Jackass Forever came out, but then I was like, no, he was really only in a tiny little portion of the film and not enough to show off the makeup. So I had put this off of my mind until someone said, whoa, X, the old person makeup there. And I was like, yes, of course, why the fuck didn't I think of that? So X, I think, is definitely going to be getting in for this one. So yeah, that's I think a strong 3 there. The other two are just the other two. So it's sad to say, but I don't think anything other than The Whale is going to win. And again, that's if A24 doesn't completely fuck up that film's release. All right, moving on to the sound categories. Starting with sound. Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, I think this is another done deal. I think you're pretty safe with this one winning. Although I think it will have some competition that could surprise. I think All Quiet on the Western Front is going to get nominated, and it being a war film has a good shot at it. I just don't think it's going to compete against Top Gun Maverick that everybody has seen. So there you have it. The Batman, this is one that I've been seeing getting everywhere. So yeah, might get more than just one nomination. Elvis, I'm thinking of like Bohemian Rhapsody and how they like to nominate movies that have concerts and songs and things like that. And then Avatar, The Way of Water, I'm sure that's going to have some very unique sounds. Haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't tell you for sure, but I think it's just something that you think about. Now, you know me, I was talking about this last month. I would love for Tar to get in, because I think that movie has amazing sound, and sound plays a very important role in that film, but nobody's nominated Tar for sound, so I'm not going to do that. So that's what I have for you there. For score, Babylon, I hear the score, and that one's fucking amazing. And what have I said in my previous videos? Damien Chazelle knows what he likes to hear in his sounds, because that's where his background comes from. So, of course, the sound is going to be fucking amazing. The score I'm talking about. So, yes, that's what I got for you there. Women Talking is another one that a lot of people have said has a really good score to it. So, I'm very interested to hear that one. Fabelmans. So, John Williams is retiring. He's 90 years old. And so he's definitely going to get the nomination here. And I've heard a lot of people make the argument that, well, there's no way he's going to win. He's gotten so many awards. He's not hurting for an Oscar. He's not overdue. And I think that's the wrong argument to make. I think the argument to make is that he's a very beloved composer who's had quite the heck of a career. And maybe they want to honor him one last time before, since they know they're never going to be able to do so again. And for him to be 90 years old, he would hold the record for the oldest Oscar recipient. So maybe that's something they want to honor him with. That's the argument that I think should be made. Not that he's overdue or he deserves the award or things like that. But again, I'm just trying to get into the mindset of the voters. And I think that's something that they might think about. And maybe they're going to campaign for. Just like, hey, it's his final time. He's retiring. Don't you want to honor him one final time for a Steven Spielberg film? So that's what I got for you there. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, this I've been seeing everywhere, so I'll throw it in. And then I know it's probably not going to happen, but god damn it, I'm not ready to kick the Batman off of that. I fucking love that score. It is so far my favorite score of the year. I haven't heard every single score yet, but god damn, I love that score. So I'm gonna, by sheer will of force it to get into the nomination. So join me, everybody. It's gotta get in. It's gotta get in. For song, Lift Me Up for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I think especially if they're going to market it as a tribute to Chadwick, I think it's going to have a very easy winning streak there. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, this has been showing up everywhere. I thought maybe because the main song itself, when released on its own, didn't do so well, maybe it would hurt its chances, but that doesn't seem to be the case so far. I did move Natu up. I think this would be a very interesting win if they decided to go that route. And again, I would love to see this performed at the Oscars. So at the very least, please get it nominated. Ciao Papa is the big surprise right now. Everybody's fucking nominating this one. The song is fine. I wouldn't listen to it outside of the film, but it's fine. And then, yes, I did throw in Carolina where the Crawdads sing. I personally don't think it's a good song, but everybody else seems to as well. Yes, I took off the Diane Warren song, which I know kind of sounds stupid because she always gets nominated, but I just don't really see her getting in it anywhere. So I think this may be the year that the streak is broken. And if I'm wrong, then I will have learned my lesson, but I think that's kind of where we're heading as of right now. We'll see what the future brings. So it's a little bit awkward talking about international feature film, seeing as RRR cannot get nominated into it anymore, even though it can definitely get the nomination in other categories. So yeah, if it could get in here, I probably would be predicting it to win. But since it can't and it isn't, I'm still going to go with Decision to Leave, followed very closely by All Quiet on the Western Front. I think it's going to be one or the other here. So yeah, take your pick. Also, most likely getting in are Close and Argentina 1985. I don't think Bardo's going to get in. At least I hope not, seeing as how many people just really didn't like it. It'd be kind of weird to see it get in. I, on the other hand, heard really great things about The Quiet Girl. I know it hasn't really been showing up anywhere, but my thought process on that is because RRR is kind of taking that slot, and sometimes Bardo manages to kind of squeeze in there as well. Maybe The Quiet Girl is just on the outside. Like, it would be the next one up. So I think with RRR not getting in, and if they don't go the way of Bardo, which they shouldn't, I think that's where we could see The Quiet Girl get in. I have nothing to back up that train of thought, but it's what gets me to sleep at night. Anyways, moving on to documentary. There are so many goddamn documentaries. Every year there's like more and more. They're all so easily accessible, which is a great thing, but maybe because of that, this year in particular, there's been so many different winners. Right now, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed and All That Breeds, I think, are leading the pack. I think they have quite a bit of wins each, but there's so many others. Fire of Love, which I did get a chance to see, I could easily see this getting nominated. It's a very nice film. It's an easy watch for everybody, though it does feel like The Rescue from last year, where it could be the recipient of the Oscar documentary curse, where it gets snubbed. It just has that aura about it, if you will. Good Night Oppie. I just watched this before I started recording. I saw this film, and I can see why I took home that first win, and it's been getting nominated. It's a very sweet film, and yes, just like how all you guys thought, it's very reminiscent of My Octopus Teacher, in that kind of, you feel for this thing. So that's what I have for you there. And then rounding things off is The Territory at number 5, because I have also been seeing this crop up in quite a couple of places, but there's so many other possibilities. I mean, you got Descendants, you got Senior, you got Navalny. There's so many things that could potentially show up in documentary. So again, another very exciting one to keep an eye on. Animated feature film is going to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. End of story. I saw it, and finally I liked an animated film. I don't think this year's been very strong for animated films in my opinion, but I'll admit that Pinocchio film was pretty darn good, so it's gonna win. Plus, it's getting into a couple of other categories, so of course that would probably be your first thought process when nominating there. But Marcel the Shell with Shoes On has also been winning in a couple of critic circles, so could we see a surprise upset? Probably not, but I think that's a strong number 2. Turning Red, obviously number 3. I think that one is definitely going to get in, and I think the major consensus right now is that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is your number 4. What is number 5? That is the big question, because nobody seems to know. Everywhere that I've looked, there's been something completely different. From, okay, sure, The Bad Guys, that seems like your big one that could get in, to small ones like Uno, I believe it was called, that got into Golden Globes, like a smaller anime style one. So I don't think people know what it's going to be. So fuck it, I'm going to throw the one that I would like to see on there, and that is Apollo 10.5: A Space Age Childhood, which it's probably one of my favorite films of the year. I freaking loved that movie. And I get that some people are like, it's rotoscope, it's not true animation, but the Academy has said it's eligible, so it could somehow make it in. I'm not too confident myself, but it is what I would love to see. Then we got visual effects. It's going to Avatar. This is your most locked nomination, winner, category of the night, whatever you want to say it. It's going to Avatar. In fact, I think it'd be the biggest shocker of the night if Avatar didn't take it. So the rest are just the rest. This one is going to Avatar. Alright, then we got the animated short. Not much is different other than I had to take out Letters from a Pig because it didn't end up making the list. So Yeah, I threw Love Dad on there, but check out the list. There's quite a bit of them on there, so good luck if you are making your predictions for the shorts. Everything else that I had on here did make the list, so hey, good on me, I guess. Documentary shorts, I have Nuisance Bear number 1. We haven't seen a lot of documentary short winners throughout the Critics Awards, but Nuisance Bear was one of the few that I have seen win so far. I saw it and I liked it. I don't know if it would win. There's no speaking whatsoever. There's just a little bit of an introductory paragraph, if you will, to kind of set up what the premise is. And then after that, it just shows. It does not tell, which I'm all for. And it also had a very hilarious ending. I don't know if you guys would find it funny or if you would catch the humor in it, but I started laughing out loud as soon as I got that ending shot. I'm like, yeah, that's the logical outcome to that scenario. So there's that. The rest are the same. I did throw in Flow of Words because I have seen that getting into a couple of nominations where there is documentary short. So just by the consistency alone, I think that's a good one to throw in there. But the rest of them are exactly the same. And then live action short, yes, I still have All Too Well, the short film. Call me out on that if you like, but I'm going to keep repeating myself. Taylor Swift, look up the reviews. I'm not kidding. Just go to Google, type in All Too Well, the short film review, and you'll see fucking 5 out of 5s, 10 out of 10s, masterpiece. You'll just see one after another. That is getting fucking great reviews. So it doesn't matter what you and I think. I saw it myself. I thought it was whatever. It matters what the major consensus is. And right now, it's fucking beloved. So yes, it's my number 1. We Cried Together at number 2. I did take off Remembering, the Brie Larson one, just because that one's not been doing too hot. And then I threw in July and Dress Up. Dress Up I'm not too confident in, but July. Holy shit, if you guys can just go out and see July, it's such a fucking great premise. Yeah, I don't want to ruin it, but if for whatever reason you're just curious, go check that one out. I would love to see that one get nominated just because, yeah, that one was really, really good. And those are my predictions for December of 2022. Now let's take a quick look into the future at what my schedule for my future predictions are going to be. We get the Oscar nominations, I believe, at the very end of January 26, 27, sometime around there. So I will definitely do one more predictions video before we know what the nominations are going to be. So my final prediction of trying to guess who's getting nominated. Then I'll throw out another predictions in February, just kind of with my train of thought of what could win out of what is nominated. And then, of course, we have the show in March. So, you know, I like to do my Road to the Oscars, where I give my very final predictions the day right before the Oscars. So you guys have at least 3 more predictions videos coming. Keep an eye out for those. And, of course, I'll work on other things in between as well. So, yeah, lots coming up. We're getting into the exciting times now. I can't wait for the Oscars. And, yeah, I guess that's about it. So, now it's time for So Long. But we're gonna sing one more song. Thanks for doing your part. You sure are smart. I mean, unless you have, like, Tom Cruise in your top 5, in which case, what the fuck?